What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Diction. Welcome back to another COD Mobile video. So today I actually wanted to talk a little bit about BR. Given that Warzone Mobile has officially shut down, at least as of recording this video, I think it's time that we actually do talk about BR, mainly because given that we don't have a BR exclusive Call of Duty game now, I guess we kind of have to just focus on this game now. Not that it's a really bad thing. I mean, for personal preference, at least with me, I actually do not like the BR in this game, mainly because of its like third-person perspective type of thing, and just the fact that some weapon perks can kind of just define every gunfight. So that's something I just like never really liked about this BR, but it's something that a lot of people I know usually tend to like more than I do, so I will respect that. But now that Warzone Mobile is officially gone and we're back with just COD Mobile being the standalone Call of Duty game now, what's actually going to happen to BR? Is the BR mode in this game going to go through some significant changes over this year and the next because of the absence of Warzone Mobile now? Or is it just going to stay the same? BR in this game isn't really something that gets touched upon as much as multiplayer does, I would say. You know, sometimes there'll be some new operator skills that you can use. Sometimes they'll change some features around certain maps, and that's basically it. You don't get a lot of game-changing features with Battle Royale in this one. But when we do, there are some pretty substantial changes. Sometimes we get a new BR map like Cry or maybe even Blackout, but never anything really in terms of, I guess, gameplay mechanics. The gameplay mechanics have been more or less the same for about a while now. If anything, the only changes that they seem to make for BR as of right now is just balancing. And I like to think that maybe BR was kind of held back because of Warzone Mobile. Maybe the developers were actually told not to be too innovative with the mode, given that Warzone Mobile kind of was just there. But now that it doesn't exist anymore, I wonder if the developers are a lot less restricted on what they can do with the mode. What I mean by that is that for this next season, we are getting buy stations. This is something that was usually exclusive to Warzone, where you could basically have like some sort of currency while you are playing that specific game, and you could buy, let's say, score streaks, or I guess in this case now you could probably buy weapon perks. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if buy stations were actually something that was leaked back in like the early days of COD Mobile. Correct me if I'm wrong, I do not know. But yeah, I heard somewhere that there was some sort of leak about that, but yeah. But point is, we're getting a lot of Warzone Mobile related type of features, such as the auto leaning. This is something that a lot of people have pointed, or I guess kind of added to their theory as to like the devs kind of adding a lot of Warzone type features into this game. That could always be true. You know, the devs probably know a lot more than we do, obviously. They might have known probably months ahead that Warzone Mobile was going to be shutting down. And who really knows, maybe the devs were starting to add a lot more features within this year, mainly because of that reason. I wouldn't really go past the idea that maybe the devs were told to kind of like start ramping up in features, mainly because, again, they probably knew ahead of time that Warzone Mobile was going to shut down, and knowing that they needed the Warzone Mobile player base to migrate back into COD Mobile, they have to make the game a lot more appealing than it usually is. I think that's why they started adding the secret cache system. They started adding wild cards. They started, you know, improving a lot of different things with the game to make it a lot more, I guess, user-friendly. This could also further extend to the draws as well. I mean, they have less content, making them a lot more easier to obtain. I mean, I got that legendary Odin in one try, but, you know, even then they have like 7 things instead of like 10. And they have like a lot of discounts that they've been just releasing with a lot of these draws, you know, 15% off, 20% off, you know, just all this type of stuff to make the game a lot more appealing. And I'm willing to go as far as to say that maybe they've even been focusing more on balancing other weapons, just so that when people migrate to this game and they start grinding out whatever camos they want to grind out, it's going to be a little bit easier, given that there's a lot more flexible meta. I know you guys are going to tell me, well, the USS-9 is still overpowered and we still have to worry about the potential that the VMP might have. And I understand what you're saying, but I mean, look at all the changes that we had for these recent patch notes, especially with the Type 25, you know? They're making these guns a lot more viable than they usually are. We have to keep in mind that 2 years ago, or maybe even 3 years ago, we would never dream that COD Mobile developers would even go as far as to change the game as much as they have this year. Remember when Warzone Mobile first came out? Like, I mean, the game was boring as hell. I mean, even coming back to it after getting Interstellar, you know, working on the MG42, there was nothing else to really grind for. I was so burnt out of the game, and maybe just Call of Duty in general, because I mean, the Interstellar grind wasn't the easiest thing to do, especially in Warzone Mobile, where I feel like I could have easily gone the camo a lot more efficiently if I was just playing Modern Warfare 3. So, yeah, I mean, being burnt out could probably be an explanation as to why I didn't really feel it during that time. But I mean, during that time, they weren't having like a lot of major updates that would change the game significantly. In fact, through most of these years, we never really had anything game changing. I would say the wild cards and the secret cache are probably the two biggest changes that we've had in years. But again, the devs potentially knowing far ahead of time that Warzone Mobile was just not going to make it could explain why we are getting all these different types of features. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year we actually do get an all diamond camo. I'll be amazed if that doesn't happen throughout the end of this year. I mean, if you think about it, they probably have something in store for that. I mean, they've already been working on improving all the camos with attachments and everything, so I wouldn't put it past them to actually make a full-on all diamond camo reward like in somewhere in the near future. They did say within these first 2 test servers that we've received for the year that, I mean, like these were like what, ranking between like 3rd and 4th place in what they actually have in store for us. So apparently they have a lot more greater features to share. I mean, who knows? I mean, one of the top ranking ones might actually be within this next update, but I'm actually kind of curious to see how COD Mobile is going to be like by the end of this year. Whether it be multiplayer or battle royale, I mean, who knows what could change within this span of months. I mean, let's say by December, we don't even know how this game is going to look like. For all we know, they could end up changing the UI completely. We might have that all diamond camo reward. We might have a lot more improvements to battle royale, hell, maybe even multiplayer. So right now, as it seems, we're on a pretty good path right now. Given that Warzone Mobile is no longer around, I could expect this game to get far more improvements, not only this year or even the next, maybe throughout like the rest of the game's life. And even when devices get stronger, I could assume that they could probably change the graphics significantly to make them pretty close to, I guess, console level. But that might be a far-fetched idea. So with Warzone Mobile being gone, with Verdansk being gone from mobile, I could expect... I mean, I don't expect Verdansk to be like making its way into this game anytime soon, but in terms of mechanics for Warzone Mobile to be kind of like, I guess, transferred or I guess put into COD Mobile, that might be a little bit questionable. Yes, we're getting buy stations, but I don't know how far they are willing to really take it, because we already have stuff in this game that are kind of established, such as like the operator skills. I mean, they can't completely do away with that. But also keep in mind, some of these operators have skins in them. Like, what are they going to do with all that stuff if they get rid of all the operators? Or hell, like, what if they actually get rid of all the weapon perks that you could use and they just make the guns work just as they usually would if it was like Warzone? Like, just normal bare bones. Just you have to, like, find your loadout in order to actually have a good class setup. You know, it's... like, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, but I don't think it's going to be answered right away. I mean, keep in mind, it's only been a few days since Warzone Mobile has been, I guess, just, like, basically removed. So, I mean, it's all up in the air. I mean, I guess only time will tell on what will happen with BR mode. But I'm expecting a lot more changes now since this is now the main COD BR. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for some more COD Mobile content, and I'll see you guys next time.